Hi everybody! It is I, Dimple Wizard. I am here today with a little just chatting stream. It took me a few minutes to set things up, but I'm here now. There's not much going on. I was just introducing myself to League of Legends. I know, I was peer pressured, I promise. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to do today. I scheduled Fridays for being a just chatting kind of stream. So if you guys have a suggestion on things I can do, feel free to say so. I'm gonna hang out here for a little bit. And eventually I'll figure out like maybe something to do in the background, but it's kind of a free-for-all, viewer's choice sort of day. You know, I'll actually... Here we go. There we go. Now the stream title is Viewer's Choice Day. Hello, Alec the Cool. I am back again. Oh, there's a little bean in the chat. Yeehaw. But yeah. So today I just started playing League of Legends. It's interesting. I tried for like ages to avoid playing it, but you know, friends and stuff. Hello, Minid TV. Oh, you know what I should do? I should move the... There we go. Oh, my music's loud? Thank you! There we go. Hopefully that's better. But yeah, I started playing a bit of League of Legends today. It was fun. It was weird. I've never played a game like it before, so it was a little bit different. I might stream it in the future, but I want to get to a point where it's like maybe a little bit more enjoyable to watch, because I was dying a lot, even at the bot lanes. It's not something I think that, you know, will be easy for me to learn. I typically play games like first-person shooters or things like Nintendo games and stuff like that. So, and a game like League, a strategy game, is a little bit new, a little bit different. I don't like the way that the that the camera feels. I don't like that. What do you think? Mini TV. That's Egg, by the way, guys. What do you think, Egg? What do you think about the camera controls? I don't like them. I really don't. I'd love a League stream. I got a little frog. Yeah, I want to play more with you. I wish I could play more right now, but I'm also just like, it's not going to be really good for stream. Unless people would want to see me fail. Look at this frog. Okay. But yeah, today was good. I had a nice day at school. Played a little bit of pretending to be a romantic in Germany today, because I'm learning German in school, and we had to talk a little bit about history today, and we were basically going over the age of romantics and romanticism and all that. So I basically got to say that I love mountains. It was pretty cool, and I did it in German, which is pretty fun. But how's everybody's week going? We're finally at Friday. Which is weird. I can't believe it's Friday already. The week kind of goes so fast now. And again, if you have a suggestion for a game I should play, that's what it's all about. I've got some fun little things on my desk I could show off. Maybe not my desk, but especially in the background. I got like a whole pile of plushies back there. Also, you guys can ask me questions about like who I am and what I do. What is that? Lechonk. Is that like a sign to play a Pokemon game? I could stream Pokemon Sword. Hi Electron! Welcome to the stream. It's a viewer's choice kinda day. An ad. Perfect. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I haven't done like a full-on just chatting stream before, so I'm excited to see where this kind of goes. I'm glad the ad is over. But yeah, it's a viewer's choice kind of day. I figure I'll talk to you guys for like a couple minutes here. You can ask me questions if you like. I can tell you some of my backstory or something. That's what Fridays are basically all about. Getting to know me. Dimple Wizard. Imagine like sparkles and shit on the screen. I want to maybe like bounce some ideas off you guys. Like, what's the type of content that you've enjoyed seeing this week? I did a few things. I did an art stream, I played some Animal Crossing, did some Raft. I don't know, like of those, what was like your favorite thing to watch? I feel like the Raft may have bias. It's definitely different. Especially since like I do multiplayer games, you know? Then it's like there's a guest on the stream. But that's a little bit harder to do, I think, all the time. I'm thinking of doing like an animation stream sometime. Deep Rock Galactic from last week was really interesting. But this week, I think art. I like art streams. Yeah, the art streams are fun. I'm thinking like I want to do a drawing of like my character and kind of work on that. It would be cool to do something like that. I don't know, like, what would you guys like to see me draw? Is it more like viewer requests, or drawing like my characters, or drawing like maybe things like just random things that I find pretty? Or would you guys even like to see animations? I wonder if how that would go. Because I've been thinking of working on some animations recently, but I'm trying to figure out like what exactly I want to animate. There's this animation on YouTube. It's this song called The Mind Electric by Miracle Music. I love that song. I've loved that song for years, and it seems like it's finally taking off a bit. I think it's probably because of TikTok or something. It's great. It's really good. If you guys know Tally Hall, he's in that group. You might know him from the Shia LaBeouf video. Just drawing whatever is cool. I've watched people draw things from viewer requests to their own webcomic. Oh, that's cool. I've been thinking of making a webcomic. I'd like to make a little webcomic of sorts. TikTok is good mainly for finding songs, it feels like. Yeah. I wish I could do like a stream where I just watch like TikToks or Reels or something, but I'm very worried that I'd get like copyright struck or something. Same here, I have lots of ideas, but like no idea how to start. Like, I have a few things that I want to like kind of bounce off of. I love drawing like really pretty things, like dresses flowing and stuff. Maybe I could like display some of those somehow. Let me take a little gander. Gotta go like to the bottom of my thing. Let's see. I used to have like this GIF I made on my home page, but I seem to have removed that. Classic me. I save something for ages, but the moment I want to use it is just gone. Wonderful. Who is Minnie? Is that Egg? Yeah, that's Egg. Everybody say hello to Caretaker Egg. Asking so I don't introduce myself to someone I know already. Hello, Egg. A cute little joke is that, like, he was supposed to, you know, he made his name, like, Mind TV, but I always call him Minid because people misread it as Minid all the time. I'm just in the chat now. I'll go to bed in a few minutes. Yeah. Yeah, welcome, Egg. Everyone always calls me Mini. Not mind. Yeah. I kinda like it now. Oh! Yeah, you used to not like it. Let me see. You guys want to see my magnets? Here. I got this big old thing on magnets. It came in a cube. It's pretty cool, right? Here, I got a cute little thing I can do. Mini does sound like a nice, unique username. Let's see if I can make this look nice. There we go. Sort of. Hold on. It's a little heart. A little wonky heart for you guys. Yeah, I kind of come around to it too. But I've had a nice day at school, other than just getting to roleplay as a romantic. I got to make a new friend, which was nice. Let's see. A hard part about German is just learning like adjective endings and stuff like that. They call it Kausus. There's like a lot of weird grammar things in German that you kind of have to get used to. It felt a lot easier when I first started because it was just about learning vocabulary, but now it's like you gotta take the vocabulary that you learn and properly put it into sentences, which I can do, but it's still really hard. Like even people who were born in Germany can sometimes struggle with the adjective endings. Because if you don't know like the gender of a noun, then that basically screws up the whole sentence. Like no matter what, if it's accusative or dative, which honestly I'm still trying to learn. There's like certain like words that'll tell you if it's accusative or dative. Words can have genders now. Yeah, in some languages, like even Spanish, they have masculine and feminine, but in German they have masculine, feminine, and neutral. And plural, which is, you know, a whole other can of beans. Not even the beans in the chat. That's just a whole different can of beans entirety. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to turn my electric blanket on. Because I'm a cold little bean today. It's very chilly. It's like snowy. Here, you guys can check out my blanket. Look at this. It's all fuzzy and soft. Isn't that sweet? And it can boil me. Do you guys have any exciting stories from your week? Some people are heading back to school, others are still on holiday. Maybe you're getting a job or something. School started back up. How's that going? I hope it's going good. We have Spanish classes now. Muy bien. Muy bien. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? I used to be okay at Spanish. I took it for 2 years, but then I switched over to German, and I forgot most of it. Like, if I was dropped in like a Spanish-speaking country, you know, I feel like I could get by enough, like an emergency sort of get by, but it would not be pretty. Like, I could probably ask for necessities, barely. And I feel like I would mix things up with the German. Not because I don't remember German, but it'd be like putting English into there, and you know, you want to avoid using English if you're trying to speak a different language, or whatever your main language is. Let's see, you could absolutely not. I know water. Waters and gas. That's non-sparkling water. Lovely. And also, I think it's agua. I think water's agua. Let's see. Yes. But let's see. Wish it was like Japanese or something, but the only two options I had were Spanish and French, and no way I'm learning French. Yes, you see? Yeah, over here, I was lucky enough to have a few more options growing up, but I think in general there's just like a big problem in America with learning like other languages. Like for me, my options were Spanish, French, and Chinese. And then only when I went to high school, German became an option. And it took a hot second for me to get into German because it filled up. But Spanish was always considered the easiest class. But for me, German was way easier because a lot of German words are very similar to English. I mean, English is Anglo-Saxon German. So things, for example, like card is Karta. Like bank is Bank, you know? And they're just some words that, like, if you learn them from the start, it kind of makes everything else make sense, you know? Ball is ball. Lots of things like that. It's pretty easy. It gets hard with the genders, though. So it's important, like, if you ever decide to take on German, it's important at the start that you learn if it's die, der, or das something. Like, you gotta view it as, like, one set. And I tried to learn that, but they didn't test me on the der, der, das, so it was just easier to forget. Yeah, hospital is Krankenhaus. But that it's actually pretty straightforward because krank is to be sick or ill, and Haus is house. So it's like sick house, you know? It is actually simple, that's the thing. But if it's like if you know like the basic, like the root of a word. Yeah. Yeah, we Germans are just that practical. It actually is a really practical language. There are some like cute words though. Like a Birne, that is a pear in German. So instead of saying, like, we say light bulb in English, but they say Glühbirne, a glowing pear. Flugzeug, Feuerzeug, etc., etc. Yeah, a Flugzeug is an airplane, and that just means flying thing. It's pretty funny. Yeah. It's interesting. I love the German language. There's something really nice about how straightforward it is. But like the simplicity kind of ends in terms of the vocabulary itself. It gets tricky when it comes to you know, everything else. I guess. It makes a lot of sense actually. Light bulbs are pear-shaped usually, not counting fairy lights or any of that. Yeah. But there's also just Lichte, light, you know. It's pretty cool. Maybe I could do like a German lesson stream. But I feel like I would need Egg to be like on the stream with me to correct me. For some reason, a lot of people learning German say it's pretty easy, despite me and the other 50% agreeing it's really hard. Like, when you start learning, it seems really easy. That's where it comes from. Now I'm at the part where it's hard, because like, you know, just building the basic building blocks of knowing what words mean, that's pretty simple. Because a lot of it you can kind of suss out a little. But then the moment that you have to start putting it into sentences or speaking it, then people start to get a little nervous. Because there's just so many forms of things. Like, I'm lucky that my boyfriend is German, so if I need like help with something, I can ask him. We actually spent like hours just reading like through like a tiny little page of stuff. I gotta go now. I hope you have a fun evening. Thank you, Nani TV. Have a good night. Thanks for joining the stream. I took Japanese classes once. Only what I remember is tea. I think isn't that ocha? Yeah. I used to know cinema, but I've forgotten it. Juicy! By the way, if you guys always wondered why I say Chusi at the end of my streams, that's like a German, like a cute way of saying see ya or bye, you know? I think it's something people say more in Bavaria, so southern Germany, a little bit. But a lot of people say it. But yeah, I really like learning languages. I started learning Japanese a bit ago. Juicy. Nah, it's TCH U with an umlaut, so there's like 2 dots above it, an S set, so that just means 2 S's, and then an I. That's how you spell it. I'll actually write it in the chat. If I have to switch my German keyboard. Oh, I don't want it to be caps lock. Nope, like that. Yeah. I will say regarding the German keyboard, it's funny. It's pretty much the same. Except like the keys like next to the P and the L and the M. Well, I guess mostly the P and the L. Those give you your umlaut letters. So, or here. Like those. Wow. But they for some reason switched the Y and the Z. So like you know your keyboard looks the same, but it makes the keys match a German one, and it's just like the Y and the Z are just switched, and that's because they don't really use the Y as often as they use the Z in the language, so they keep it a bit closer, you know. Which can be pretty annoying if you're switching between German and English keyboards. But it's also okay if you're using one instead of the other. You typically only want to use the German keyboard, at least for me, if you're typing with umlauted letters. Or if you need an S set. And there are some words that you don't use an S set for, even though it's the exact same thing as 2 S's. And there are some words that you want to use the S set for. It's wacky and it's weird. Here. There you go. But yeah, let's see. Do I have any exciting stories for the week? Today was just nice. I liked walking. It was, you know, it's my first week back at school. I had like a whole new schedule and everything. The streaming schedule has been really nice too. It's been a bit tricky to like exactly hit that 6:30 mark, but I think it's a good indicator of about when I'll be doing it. I just hold the letter and it shows the variance. Yeah. Electron, do you like listen to me like on your phone, or do you like use a computer? I guess I'm just kind of curious about that. Because I know like on my phone, like if I hold down like a key on my keyboard, then it shows like the variance. Ah, okay. That's wacky. I guess I had like this assumption, like that people would use like a keyboard or a PC. Twitch app is garbage though, yeah. Or garbage. Yeah. Also, like I've been meaning to do like a community poll thing or community challenge where we all like accumulate enough beans to get me to play a VR game or something. But I've just never gotten around to it. I feel like I won't end up doing it because I might just play the VR game eventually. And I don't really want to hide that behind like some sort of, you know, obstacle. I think the hard part would just be setting it up, but I feel like I can figure that out pretty quickly. If you had a YouTube channel, even though I know you do already. Yeah, I do have a YouTube. Here, what I can actually do. Let me see. My channel. Hold on. And then whoop. Let's see. I can share my screen here. Screen capture. There we go. And then bye bye. Boink. Let's see. Your glasses are an interesting shape. They are intriguing. Hello YouTube VOD channel viewers. Yeah, I have two pairs actually. Here, I can show you my other pair, although you've probably all seen it. So these are what my friend calls my stop sign glasses. And then these are like my little blue ones. You'll notice that I draw myself into blue ones more because I feel like they're a bit more like they're both visually interesting, but I like the color of this one. I feel like the color makes this one stand out. I like the thicker frame, but this one's good for style too. Hold on, my bit rate is dying. Here, let me go to screen capture. Why is this weird? Oh, you know what? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna rename this. No, that's not it. I'm gonna add a new source. Screen capture. New source. Okay. There we go. Trying to get this under here. There we go. So yeah, this is like my little YouTube channel. So you're talking about a VR game. Do you actually have a VR? I do! I can play things like VR chat. I can play Job Simulator. Pretty much anything. I don't have a lot of VR games yet, but VR chat is just really fun. You got Rec Room? I think that's just free, isn't it? But I don't have it downloaded yet necessarily. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I haven't played that yet. Maybe I will for a stream someday. But I think I prefer VR chat because I like it. I like it a lot. I'd like to do a little viewer meeting sometime. I think that'd be really fun. But yeah, this is my YouTube channel here. I'm really excited to make a lot more animations. Shout out to my subscribers on my VODs and my main channel. You know, I never actually like watched my animation on stream. Rec Room is like the more cartoony and not as adult version of VR chat. Okay. I like to build stuff in it. I didn't know you could build stuff in Rec Room. I'll do like some research on it. Maybe I'll decide that would fit better for my content. I just have like a custom avatar on VRChat, so I like to use it a lot. I also made a couple worlds on VRChat too. Well, not a couple. I made, well, sorta. My friend helped me with one of them because it was hard. But one of them I was mainly in charge of, where I just put a lot of like personal art and stuff up in it, and it was a little present for Egg. There's this one game I want on Steam. Let's see. Let me look at my little profile here. Where's my wish list? Let's see. I want to play Tiny Town VR. It's like $15 and it's basically just make a little VR town. Yeah, you have this little 3D pen sort of thing called the Maker Pen, and you can build stuff using that without the use of messing around in Unity. Although that is an option if you want custom assets. That's interesting. Yeah, it was hard figuring out VRChat, like making a world for that. I had to learn how to use Blender. I noticed that I'm very self-taught with things. I taught myself how to animate. I taught myself how to use Blender. It was a lot. I want to learn how to make 3D models and stuff. I want to make like VR models. Electron, can you like customize your character in Rec Room? I feel like in any VR game, that's like a basic function that you should have. There's also a game character editor, yes. Cool. Maybe I'll do that on a stream or something. Like, first time Rec Room user. Yeah, that'd be fun. I don't know, do you guys wanna watch like my animation on YouTube and I could just talk over it? I'd have to watch it with it being muted, but that could be something I do. There's only humans, but there are costumes and stuff if you want to dress up in like, I don't know, a fursuit if you're into that sort of thing. Now, I typically dress up as like a human. Actually, maybe I could show you my character model somehow. Don't know how I do that. Maybe I have a screenshot of it or something. Let me see. You guys can see that, I think. No. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find a picture of my character. Screenshots. How does this look? Well, that's not a good picture. I need to go through and clean stuff up. Did you guys know that I used to have a VTuber? I don't think there's any evidence of it anymore. Where is it? I feel like there's going... Okay. I could take this. Model in VRChat. See? And then I want to find the other one I use. I have like 2 models. Ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Da-da-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. Let's see. No. I'm just scrolling through my screenshots right now to find if I can see the model I use in here on VRChat. That's that one. Here, perfect. Alright, cool. Now I can show you guys. Let's see. One thing I personally prefer over Rec Room than VR Chat, it's more game oriented than chat room oriented. Sure, there are still chat rooms off an official port of the Black Cat Cafe from VR Chat in the game, but there's also stuff like Quest, Battle Royale, Soccer, 3D Pictionary, Disc Golf, and tons of other user-made games. That's interesting. I feel like that sounds like a lot of fun. Here, well, let's just do. Okay. Why can't I show off my pictures? Oh, wait. That's why. Picked the wrong thing. Image. Okay, got it. Let's see. So this is the model that I use currently on VRChat. Let me see if I can... No. Let me see if I can kind of... So as you can see, like, I've got this cute little design here. I have like these little cat stockings I like, and like black boots, and I always want like a pretty little blue and pink kind of dress. I really like this model a lot. And then another thing I like, if I can show it off here, is this is the model that my friend made me. It's very pretty. So, I think you can see in my recommended channels, the Mary Rose. I don't think she does this like for a business right now or anything, but she makes really good models. She spent ages making the dress actually like really flowy. Though I understand that it's not for everyone, and that VRChat is better in different ways, such as mod support, fully customizable avatars, animated avatars, and better graphics. So like in Rec Room, you can't have color changing hair, just randomly whip out a magic wand that's tied to your character. Whoa, that's really cool, now I have an ad. Yeah. I think like, I am more of a VRChat type of person. I think at the end of the day. Like a Rec Room would be good for probably streaming, but VRChat is what I think I would prefer in the long run. But although I haven't tried Rec Room yet, so maybe I'll like it then. I swear if I hear Almonds promote Skit Health one more time. Yeah, you know me and my skin health advocation on this stream. Let's see. But yeah, those are the things, my two avatars. Like, the thing is the hair glows in the dark, which is cool. And even on this model, the hair turns blue at the ends. It's just hard to see. This was just the best picture I had. Yeah, I really like them. Let's see if I can. I'll just delete those now. You guys want to see something kind of silly? Well, bam. No, my glow frame is gone. I can actually show you guys, if I turn my webcam off. I always have the little Haya thing down there because it just kind of looks nice. I'd actually really like to show you. This is like my background. I drew this. It took a couple tries to sort of get it right. But I wanted to make like a little bit of a galaxy setting, you know? It looks kind of weird since everything's sort of oddly spaced, but the moment you add the glow frame, it just makes sense. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love this. Let's see. Webcam. Hello. Oh right, I forgot to mention the two most popular games in Rec Room. There's paintball and laser tag. Oh, that would be fun. That really would be fun. Yeah. There's a little behind the scenes action for you though. Here, let me actually... La 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 la. Yay. Haha. Perfect. Let's see. I was trying to take away the stuff, but here we go. Look at this. Wait, hold on, let me get rid of these things. But yeah, I have my little animation here. You could watch it if you guys would like. It's kind of weird though, cause like I have to like be clicked on it to have you guys see it. That's wacky. Like I can do this sort of. Let's see if I let it play. Oh cool, I can actually watch it with you. That's awesome. But yeah, this is my little animation, if you guys haven't seen it. Oh, well here you go, here's your opportunity. Yeah. If you watch it on YouTube, you can actually like listen to the music. That's always like the hardest part though, is dealing with the music and everything. Had to stop at a bar with the old lady breaking out the other guy. Yeah, that's kind of when it starts to get really good. There's some interesting parts in there. Also, it's like only at the end of the day that you see like all the mistakes you made, and there's like spelling mistakes and stuff in here that just make me sad. But yeah, you can see there's Clutch and Clar doing like a little dance and everything, which I think that was really fun to animate. And also like this whole part was sort of an homage to the last movie, the first one. And then we have IQ introduced. Oh, you should see my recent channel posts. Because I had to go see the new Puss in Boots. Oh yeah, I really want to see that movie. No spoilers. Had mental breakdown because I forgot to color a tentacle. Oh no. Yeah, that's part of the reason why my films are mainly in black and white. But I think in the future I'll want to do like more full color and everything. This whole scene was to be like just really fun. I wanted to do cool transitions, show off the characters, basically establish a few character traits of all of them, relationships amongst the characters, and also just sort of start like the conflict a little bit of action. That was fun to animate. Drawing like the curtain was cool. This scene, this was done so early on too. Like this first whole section, this was all like very beginning kind of stuff. There are some parts that like were skipped over and were done later, but for the most part, like the big parts of these, like this beginning segment, that was all done very early in the year. And this is like where we introduced that like she works with them and everything. It was just a lot of fun. Yeah, I had a very good time doing this part though, because it gets very artsy and colorful. Drawing like I know that font. Yeah, I like using it because it kind of makes me think of like sort of like you're getting like the intel for a mission sort of vibe. And this was just really fun to animate, like the whole way through. It was hard though. Like 22 minutes is no joke. But like having the music as a bit of a guide, that was pretty cool. And here we have Merup sort of showing off that that like she's like just really fast, and I'm not sure why she's so quick. Yeah. That's the Boombox font, right? It might be. I kind of forget. But I think, yeah, I think it is Boombox font. A lot of the German was done by my my friend who's credited at the end. But I actually took over a lot of it myself, which is probably where most of the mistakes came from. I just had fun playing with the music. I really wish I could show it off with all the music and everything. But this is a really cool scene to do. There's such a long time where this was like the only part that had been animated in this whole section. But, you know, it's like you motivate yourself with the little increments of time. The next movie is going to be half the length of this, but it's going to have more of the good animation that appears in like the second half of this film. Because a lot of the beginning is just setup and dialogue, the next film's going to be a little bit more action. So I'm pretty excited about that. But this one, I feel like I had to kind of explain things and make it as clear as possible to the audience, because I knew it was such a big task. Yeah, it was 22 minutes. It was insane. I really like doing this part because it's pretty simple, and I was able to take it a bit further by having the shots with the characters like fully drawn out. Which was nice. I always felt like this was a little bit unlike the you know, the base, because like these characters are in a way like me and Egg, but they're also not. We wouldn't have an argument like that. But you know, the sake of the plot, I can't, you know, make it an extra 25 minutes, you know? The idea is that this film is supposed to take place over the course of a few weeks or so, but you can't really tell that. Like, there are parts where I say, like, later, 1 week later or something, but you know. I'm really trying to sort of master it, but this was mostly like a test of how many techniques can I use, can I actually implement color properly. This was just a really good scene. Look at that. Like, this was totally an homage to the first film, because it was like frame by frame, where a lot of this film is like double up, as I like to call it, where I'll like draw one frame and I'll use it for two, and then I'll draw another frame just like the other one, kind of like this, where it just sort of goes back and forth, but it's the same pose. But it makes it easier on me. It means I can actually sort of keep it going. But in terms of like, you know, a little bit of variety, it's a little bit trickier. A little bit trickier to kind of do that effectively. But because of the length of this movie, like it was very big. Like, you see how the stars like kind of twinkle? That's like double up. But you can see the difference with having like frame by frame, 12 FPS, you know? Boombox font did not like that A with an umlaut. Yeah, they just don't. But you know, it's kind of fine. I just let it be a little quirky, you know? This scene in particular was a little hit or miss. Like, this whole segment. Like, there were some parts that, like, you know, I had pretty well, you know, sort of set up. But this was, like, the really stupid part where, like, the music cut out. But luckily, like, it only cuts out for a little bit. But she's supposed to kind of dance to the music up the mountain. It's like, bum bum cha, a little bit, you know? I actually have, like, the original version still saved and everything. Like, I'm not gonna lose that. But, you know, I might make that, like, something I perhaps can upload on Patreon. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into if that's a thing I'm allowed to do. But, I know on YouTube it was a little bit of a risky thing. But be pleased to hear I have already tested the audio this time round. So the audio should make it through all the way. Like it's copyrighted, but it doesn't impact the video, so it's okay. I just might not be able to make money on it, but it's not about making money. It's just about making art, you know, entertainment. Like I hope to use like the what I might call the secondary animations, so like everything like around the main thing, as a bit more of like something I might be able to make money off of in the future. But like, I'm very cool with just like this, just having fun. It's not about the money, it's about sending a message. I don't think there's really a message in my thing, other than like, I adore Caretaker Egg. Like there are definitely gonna be more themes explored over time. But we'll get there when we get there. This one's just more about establishing things. Like, let me think if there is any message. Kinda not really. I guess beyond having like a really cool female villain of sorts, but that's I mean, that's not exactly like the whole point of the story, you know. It's just kind of, she is just cool. She just happens to be a woman, you know. And then here's where the first villain of the whole series, Orion, returns. Who would have thought? There were a lot of little hints, like especially with the constellation. Why does nobody get my Joker reference? Oh, I actually haven't seen that movie. I might have known it if I was like thinking about it, but like it just was not on my mind. But yeah, he's a super villain. He has like a bit of a redesign, a little, you know, now that there's color and everything. And I also changed his eye color, technically. It used to be brown, but I wanted him to be, like, I wanted basically Orion and Merope to be like a foil for Egonai. So I just kind of made like reverse color swap sort of thing. Every time someone says something along the lines of, it's not about money, I make that reference. Also, that girl up there, she's the person that helped me with the translations, so I wanted to kind of include her in the film somehow. Just like a short little cameo. And this scene, well, not this right here, like with me going and like finding them out, but like the song that comes like after this, also there's a lot of reference here that I could go over, mostly YouTubers and games and stuff, but the scene after this one was very heavily changed. Also, that's like low-key an Among Us reference. But this next part this was probably like the best part of animating. Like it was very nice. Yes, Among Us. Should change it from just chatting to Among Us Let's Play now. I highly recommend watching this part with the music when you get to it, because it's really nice. So here we see Orion's old factory, because he was a part of this cleaning crew, or that was like his front as a business. And then, I don't know about this building having Among Us references, but this is where it gets really cool. I'll just kind of let it play for a second. But yeah, as you can see, it was a little different. This is basically what I'm gonna go for in the next film. Like, not exactly with the colors. Like, there's gonna be color in it again. But yeah, why limit yourself to your girlfriend and your group when you could join her? And now her true colors are revealed. And then it's Orion too, and Edgar's like, no, and he's captured. But he clinks his shoes together. And he says, keep your foolish feelings, but we'll clutch keep hers if you come in a week. Gosh, it's really fast. And he's like, you know, if you don't come here fast enough, or if she doesn't come here fast enough, we'll just get rid of you instead. But if she does come within a week, then we'll just take her out too. it was a lot to say in a very short amount of time, so I wouldn't be surprised if people missed it. But either way, IQ gets the message from Egg's shoe signal. And this is the part where it gets pretty nice. Like, the animation sort of takes off because we're getting closer to the action scene now. And now we have it revealed that Hibana is also in this movie. If you play Rainbow Six, you'll know that. But yeah, and I am motivated to go save them because now we know. And we go off in my little car, and the song like behind this is like a little driving music and stuff. And there it is, the money shot. Totally a reference from the first film. We stood Egg and I stood atop the same building, and we're all empowered. And here I go. This is where it gets really cool because I go back to doing like frame by frame animation style, and they start shooting at me, and I'm like dodging the bullets. And then there's enemies in the window. Oh my gosh. And then like the music starts to kind of get pumped up a little bit. I start swinging around. I reveal that my purse had a knife in it, but that's not exactly totally clear, but it's just supposed to be that. And then look at this. Look at that. Wow. And I go and I swing. Yeah. That was really fun to animate, like with the glass all falling around it. And then it's like, here comes a new challenger. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to animate. It was very cool. And then we basically just start fighting. The music is all pumped up. I'm taking out the bad guys. It was a lot of fun. Like, this scene pretty much stayed the same, like all the way through the planning process. And I pretty quickly into this introduced a whole new mechanic. There's all of us. I like to say mechanic as if it's a game, but it's mostly like an effect. The inverse colors effect. Oh, it's dark in the room. But it was a lot of fun to make this scene. It was also cool to sort of figure out how to make the lights sort of turn back on in an interesting way. I wanted to not be so just jarring, so I added like a little bit of gray in the background. CSGO skit. No, it's not based off of CSGO skit. It was based off of Rainbow Six Siege and characters that I made of of Edgar and I. And then here's Hibana showing off her gadget. In the game, she's a heart breacher, so she gets into like, she breaks through metal and stuff. Oh, at least I was correct with the shooter part. Yeah, it's based off a shooter. That was probably the cutest part, it's just me crab walking in. And then, yeah. That shot had about everybody in it, so that was cool to have. And then the music kind of slows down and it gets a little sad. And Merop's gonna sacrifice herself so at least Orion can get away. Oh, you got pizza, that's nice. And there's like a little hint of a flashback in there. And then it ends, and it goes into the song Pas de Deux. And then, yeah, it's basically the credits sequence for a while. In the credits, I decided not to really animate anything except like the very last few frames. Because, like, I had to do the whole credits sequence. Oh, there's a lot of post-credit scenes. Yeah. What happens to Merop and where we all stand and everything. And there may be a teaser for the next movie. Although I think it's hard to tell. which is kind of the point. And then I tried to make it as clear as possible who's who with like this ending credit. Like there was a lot put into the credits. It's kind of crazy. And this is like just a list of all the music. I think my playlist is public of the music used in the movies. Yeah. It took me quite a little bit to mix this music. Yeah, Caravan Palace was just awesome. I love their music. Yeah. A lot of it stayed the same from like the storyboarding process, except the one scene where basically Edgar gets captured. That was going to be very different. But instead, I think I did a little bit of a cooler thing with like the colors and having Merope sort of melt into the next scene and everything and dancing and stuff. That was really cool. I want to do more stuff like that in the next film. So yeah, now we see that Merope is getting arrested, but she looks up and she thinks she sees Orion, and wouldn't you know it, it's him, and he's really sad, but it looks like he's got some type of plan, doesn't it? Yeah, I wanted to originally do it like every scene was like animated, just like the rest of this, you know? But you know. And there's like your guys' shout out. Thank you to those of you following me on Twitch and YouTube. You guys really did motivate me to finish this because there were some times where I thought I just couldn't really do it. But you guys genuinely, like, I wanted to show this to you all. Like, I have a lot of followers on here, and, you know, I was like, I felt bad because I felt like I always had to sort of promote it, but I knew that, like, this took a lot. Like, here you can see, it was 16,282 frames, so there was just a lot of time put into this. And then here's my little message for Edgar. But yeah. This is like one of my favorite parts where like the music gets really sweet and soft. Ba, 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 da, da. Like I probably could have just drawn this and given it to him and he would have been happy, but it's better with like the whole context. I used to make some old animations when I wasn't good at art. 90% of it was stick figure animations. And not good stick figure animations because there's some really good and cool stick animations. But you know, as long as you start somewhere, that's better than never doing it at all, you know? So there's a little teaser. Not my best frame, I'll be honest, but it's there. A smooch. It works a little bit better with the music, because like there's build up and everything. There's IQ and Hibana. There's Merope in jail, but she's looking kinda conniving. And there you go. Hooray. And that's that. That's the animation. It was pretty fun to make that. Yeah, that literally took me a year to make. Like literally at this time last year, I had just finished making like the, what's it called? Like the soundtrack. And I was like starting the animation process, I was very motivated. And I'm kind of at that same point again. So we're gonna see how it goes. This time, because I have like less time in total, imagine if you made original music for it. Oh golly, I've thought about that. I'd love to. I actually really love singing. When I was younger, I wanted to be a singer. I was in honors choir when I was younger. I even had like a solo for like this big event that we do in my hometown. I would tell you what it's called, but it kind of gives away my hometown. But it's like a big, like kind of Christmassy event. You know, I feel like every town has like some sort of like Christmassy, not necessarily like a parade, but just like an event with a bunch of lights and things, and you know, like school districts all coming together, bands playing and things like that. Feel like everybody has that. But yeah, I was a vocalist, like a soloist in one of the songs, which that was cool. And then I did choir again in my high school, and all the while I was doing orchestra too. Like I play the violin. I don't have it with me, so don't ask. And I don't think I'm great at it. Like there was a point where I was pretty good. Like it's actually the first chair, which means I was like at the very front. Like I was in charge of like solos and things like that. I was in charge of making everybody get tuned. I dealt with like sheet music and stuff, but it wasn't really for me. Like I enjoyed playing the violin, but it wasn't really like my passion, you know. And now I pretty good at the automaton. No, but I still have my violin. Maybe when I like move into my new place and my violin gets there, maybe I'll play violin on stream or something. I could practice again. You really want to learn bass? Yeah. Bass is a really cool instrument. Both the guitar version and the, I guess, orchestral version. Like growing up, I was in several orchestras in elementary school, so 5th grade we're talking. Like this is very young Dimple Wizard, you know? The class was only made up of mainly violins, a few violas, and then cellos. Then in middle school, we got one bass player, and in high school, we got like 2 or 3 bass players. You know, you get more cellos and violas, and then the violins are sort of split up into first and second violins, so some played the melody, some played like sort of the accompanying melody. I have this little cheap beginner bass, but it has a lot of buzz, and my mom won't let me buy a good one until I get better. Which makes sense, though, because she doesn't want to waste me on something I won't enjoy. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, it might take the investment to get, like, really into something. Like, my violin is still technically, like, a cheap beginner violin. You can actually tell if a violin is like for more advanced players or not because it'll have fine tuners at the front. I could actually probably find a picture. Let me see. Images. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, like if you see, like here, this little bottom thing, that's a fine tuner. And like when you're a professional, you don't need those. But when you're just starting, you'll have 4 of them. But over time, you're going to just want to use like the big tuners that are typically at the top. Those little black kind of little ball things. Here, I can point it out a little bit better. Like you see these things up here, those are what you would tune with. I think they might leave one for the E string, which is the highest string, but pretty typically, like it's like these guys are professionals. They only have it on the E string, which might make sense because the E is so high, especially for a violin. That's the thing. Stop trying Hulu. Nobody wants your dumb film. Oh yeah, that thing. I feel like it's counterintuitive to have a show, you know, be built to be progressive, but then immediately attack the audience that they're trying to serve. My personal opinion on the new Velma show is I think it's cool if, you know, if they want to change like the race or something of like a character, but sometimes it just feels like, you know, they're not doing it. What did they do to Shaggy? Here, let me see. New Velma show. Let's see, images. No, let me try Scooby-Doo. No, that's not it. Let me see. Okay, I guess I kind of have it. Hold on. Blink. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, yeah. Like, is this a bad thing? It doesn't necessarily have to be, but it just kind of feels like oddly forced, you know? What they do to Shaggy. He's not even called Shaggy anymore. Why not? Like, it's one thing to change the characters, but like I saw the trailer. It seemed kind of Like, I don't see why they couldn't just make new characters, you know? Like, that's just like kind of the weird thing. Like, just write new, really cool characters. Make a bigger group. You could have like a really cool like if it's Mystery Incorporated, right? Have a whole corporation. Like, you have different teams. Mix up the casts a little bit. Like, or maybe even like keep the original crew, but you make just more crews, and then like they all get together to fight like this big final boss or something. I don't know. Not exactly my cup of tea. Like, I don't know. It'd be one thing if like they didn't turn it into something, but they just kind of made it like the whole deal. Like, they have this Scooby-Doo. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think this character's like a villain in the show, but just make more cool characters like her. I don't know, I just feel like that'd be cool. I don't know. Mystery Incorporated is the best Scooby-Doo show in my opinion. I liked the one that they made, I don't know like what year it was made, but they had like a lot of adventures like into cyberspace or something. That was pretty cool. I liked that one a lot. Mystery Incorporated was okay. I think it wasn't for me when I was like younger, but now that I'm an adult, I think I like it a little bit more. Classic Scooby-Doo is funny, but it was Can I show you a video I was in? It's a clip montage of another streamer I'm friends with. I probably won't display it on the stream, but you can like send it to me on the Discord. I don't want to just like put a bunch of people's faces on my stream or something, or also risk copyrighted music. Feel like it's not really my place. Well, it's not actual faces. But even like voices and stuff, some people might, you know, not really consent to being shown or like displayed with their voices on my stream. Like, it's one thing if they're like, you know, like it's like a big YouTuber, but like if it's like your friends, I wouldn't want to just sort of impose on that, you know? It's a little different. I wouldn't mind like streaming with other people though. So like, if you're a streamer out there, hello. Wouldn't mind streaming with you. Like, let me at least like take a gander of the video before I show it on screen on a stream. I try to be very careful about what I show. Like, even my own animations, I mute and everything. I don't think my brand is good for like reaction content that much. Like, there might be a day where I decide to go for it because I know for a lot of streamers, like, that's something that people really like to watch. But I'll see, like, maybe if I can carve out a niche in other things before I kind of get, like, totally into it. I don't know, maybe I'll do, like, more reaction content. I don't know. I'm still basically at the start of my little streaming career here. So, let's see. So I'll give you time to send that. Let's see. Yeah, I'll take a little gander at that, like probably off stream, and then I'll kind of do that. You know what I'll do? I'll make like a little channel in the Discord. And then I'll video suggestions. And then I'll have a video you want me to watch on stream. Send it here. Let's see. Save changes. Permissions. Here. I'll work on it. It'll eventually be up and running. I have to like kind of, I think I have to sort of, let's see, the music is non-copyright made by the uploader. So just in case you're worried about that. Yeah, like off stream, I'll work on making, I think I'm gonna kind of redo the role system in my server. Because right now it's kind of like cutesy and like goofy. But the problem is like there's more people joining it. And over time I want it to just be like pretty clear who's who. There is a Discord distinction, by the way, on Patreon that you get, I think, if you get the lowest tier. So if you're interested in being distinguished in the Discord server, there you go. Or if you just want to support me, but at like the lowest possible amount, there you go. Yeah. Maybe I'll have like Fridays be like a video review Friday kind of thing. That could be cool. That's a way that I think people would like to participate. Just hang out, like we can watch videos together. And like, of course, beforehand I'd have to screen them and check to see like, is this something I can view? Because everything I watch is like uploaded to YouTube. And I want to be really careful because I've watched a lot of people who do like reaction content like get bamboozled. But yeah. Let me see. But yeah. I don't know. Do you have any questions for me about my life? How I started? Things I do in my off-screen time? What do I think about stuff or things like that? Here. There we go. What I'll do is I'll change it. I don't need to display that the whole time. Webcam. Let's see. Fit to screen. Oh no, I'm behind a little cage. There we go. Let's see. Do you have any old characters that you made as a child that you plan maybe bringing back? Actually, you'd be surprised to know. Yeah. When I was younger, I made this whole comic series on this app that's literally deleted. It was called Sketch. It was made by Sony. And I basically made this whole story about these characters that were like, they lived like in a town called Nowhere. And I actually made like redone versions of this story. I have like models of like all the characters that are going to be important. Major like story beats were already figured out. I just never stuck through with it. But I feel like maybe in the future I can do that. They're supposed to be like doodles or something. It was supposed to be like a big metaphor. But I just didn't have time to do that anymore, and I got really obsessed with animating. And animation kind of took priority because it was new and it was something I always wanted to do. Let's see, I could actually probably show it on my phone. Let's see. Let's see. Sketch. The character, like, it's gonna be an old drawing. Okay, so bear with me. And I did this all like using my finger because, well, at the time I didn't have like a pen or a setup or anything. Oh gosh, they're so bad. This isn't the revamped model or anything, but it's definitely wacky. Oh gosh, I'm trying to find one that's like okay, but they're all kind of bad. I guess I'll do it like this. Here, if you can see. It's very simple. Like, I was very young when I made this. But these are the basic designs. Like, very simple. But that was the point. They were supposed to be simple. And then, like, this was when I was... Gosh, let me see if I can find the date on this. Details. Oh gosh, this was like... 4 years ago? Let's see, I made a comic when I was young called The Amazing Combo. It was your stereotypical superhero comic. Let's see, laser beam, you know the drill. His superpower was the ability to top power up by chaining hits and then using that charge to become stronger to power. Okay, alright. So it's like kind of like a combo system, I see. Yeah, The Amazing Combo. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Basically taking a moveset and kind of just making a whole story around it. That's a cool idea. Yeah, mine was more based off of the idea of like, what if the things that you drew came to life and they were like maybe a little bit scared of the things that, you know, you were drawing along with them, or even like just the things you used to draw. You know, discovering themselves, like, are they just a drawing or are they the, you know, like a thing of their own, you know? And it was supposed to have like other themes in it. But yeah. One day I hope that maybe like on a stream I could kind of show off like the revamped versions of those characters and everything. Ever heard of Scribblenauts? Yeah, it's kind of like the idea of Scribblenauts, but it's a little bit different. I feel like everybody has heard of Scribblenauts, especially if they're like around my age or like this generation. I feel like most kids who had like a tablet or something had Scribblenauts on it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. I remember having a lot of fun playing Scribblenauts. I would always like set myself up with like a set of wings, but I'd make them like really fast wings, right? I'd have like a loyal pet dog or something, or a loyal fast pig, so that would like follow me, that also had wings on it, right? And then we'd go around and fight a bunch of bad guys and stuff. I've never actually owned a Scribblenauts game before, but I watched the heck out of Scribblenauts playthrough from Stampy Longhead, if you remember him. Oh boy, I know Stampy Longnose. Like, I love Stampy Longnose. I was a huge fan. I watched all of his content. There was literally a time where I went through and went back and watched like all the previous content that I missed, and I got like re-caught up. Like, I was watching like the current stuff, I was also like constantly watching like the older videos to get up to date, right? I wouldn't say he's uploading as strong as he used to be. Like, I know he's not in it for like the views or the ad revenue or stuff, which I think is really sweet. He just likes making the content. But he did take a break for a bit, I think, when he went back to university. And now he's married Squishy, which is really sweet. I loved when they played what's it called? Skyden. And then they did Cave Den and everything. Oh, the grass races. I remember when I was younger, I actually made like a post on my Instagram at the time that was like, congratulations to Squishy on winning the grass race or something. It was great. It was a wonderful moment. I used to laugh a lot like Stampy. I think I kind of lost it over time. Though the way he handled Elferly leaving was great. He avoided the controversy while still safely removing the character from the series without ruining childhoods. Yeah. Stampy was built different. It was just so creative. Like, I'm not one who wants to have kids on my own. But I know that if I did have kids, I'd probably show them like Stampy content. And there was like this time where he made like this children's show, like an educational show for kids, like about science and stuff. What was it called? It was like Wonder something. I Wonder, maybe? Unless I was like yeah, Wonder Quest, yeah. That was a good time. Yeah, I really loved those. It was weird, because it was like, wow, this is different, you know, like a full-on series being made. Yeah, I Wonder was a little sideshow. Yeah. Like, when I watched it, I knew that like that was not content that was made for me, but there's something just so cozy about Stampy, you know? Like, he was just a very chill kind of guy. And honestly, like, I felt like at a time where, like, when you're like a teen, like an up-and-coming teen, like you know, there's a lot of angst in your life, you know, and you're, you know, discovering a lot of new emotions, a lot of sad emotions and stuff. You're just changing a lot, trying to figure out how you fit in the world. Stampy was like a safe spot, you know? Like, I always felt like I'm probably one of the older viewers, right? But now, like, that I'm 20, it's like I know I probably was, you know, the average group. You just feel so much older when you're a teen. It's weird. But you're not. You're still, like, just a kid, you know? But it was always just so wholesome. I loved just coming home from school and watching Stampy all day long. It was great. Remember Dan TDM2? I don't watch him too much nowadays, but he still uploads good content. Yeah, I didn't really watch Dan that much, but it was weird because Egg had like the same experience as me, where we both found a lot of coziness in his like holiday vlog. He did like I think they call it Vlogmas or something. And gosh, I rewatched those, and they don't really hit the same anymore, but I remember the feeling I had when I watched them as a kid. I felt like I was, in a way, sort of just like a part of their family. And I guess that's why people watch vlog content. He's actually gonna be, yeah, I heard that he's gonna be a dad. Or I think he already is a dad of 2, and he's on like a little hiatus right now because of that. Which is honestly, like, good for him. I like the trend of, YouTubers not showing their kids' faces and letting that be like their kid's choice, you know? But like when they're a bit older. Well, he had one son already, but now he's having another. Yeah, I think he already had the second son. I think if you check his Twitter or something, you'll see he's already had it. Yeah. That's how I found out about him going to be a father of 2. Yeah. Gosh, there were a lot of YouTubers I watched as a kid. Like, one of the ones I always wished I watched more, but it wasn't really for me entirely. So I don't have a Twitter, so what do I know? I don't know, maybe Instagram or something, or just Google it, I don't know. But, I wanted to watch Markiplier more as a kid. But it's very hit or miss with me. Like, I'll either really love a series that he does, or I'll just not be really interested at all. So I skipped a lot of Markiplier content, but when he does like those really popular mainstream games, like the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, or when he did like Power Washing Simulator recently, I love those. I love those a lot. Well, I guess that's not recent right now. So that was in the summer. Now we're in January. I remember being like in Germany watching his power washing content. That's wacky. I like when he does like food reviews or stuff like that. His Power Wash Pals podcast is nice to listen to. I only listened to the one where he had MatPat on there. I loved Game Theory as a kid. I don't watch it that much now, but very recent, like a couple weeks ago, I got super into it. I resubscribed to some of that stuff. It was weird. So weird. He uploaded like videos 7 years ago, and I was like, oh. I like the one where he had Jacksepticeye on. I didn't even know he had Jacksepticeye. Like, that's the thing. I subscribe to Markiplier, but I don't watch his content a lot. I like his content, but he's such a thespian of a character sometimes. Like the way he acts and talks. Sometimes I dig it, sometimes I don't. I'm kind of picky on that. I really love it though. Like him as a person. He's a very good man. Jacksepticeye, I barely watch his videos. Like there was a time where I was watching like a few of his videos. Some of the content he did I liked. But all in all, not really for me. It just felt like it didn't hit the vibe right, you know? I did like PewDiePie though. I did like PewDiePie a lot. When he like had a resurgence from Minecraft, I was there. I loved that. Oh, he doesn't? I thought he still did like fairly regular uploads. Okay. I don't know. I never subscribed. I may have subscribed to Jacksepticeye at one point, but I'm pretty sure I've unsubscribed. Unless I'm still subscribed and I just don't get his stuff in my feed. My favorite YouTuber? I don't know. There was a time where PewDiePie was my favorite. But I think there was a point where I don't know. A lot of the content he made was like just reacting to Reddit. Like, I didn't really go. It was just like, I don't know. There's something about his vibe, you know? Oh, he uploads more than I thought. Oh. PewDiePie does not upload a lot anymore. He'll upload the occasional vlogs. I think the entire internet was sad when his dog passed away. Maya. Like, I think no matter what you think about PewDiePie, I think everyone can agree that, like, his dog was probably one of, like, those first famous YouTuber pets, you know? It slowed down, though, because he's working on, like, a show, I think. Makes sense. I know Markiplier was up working on bigger projects. PewDiePie's dog died? Oh no. Yeah. Maya. Edgar's still alive. Not, well, my Edgar's alive, but his Edgar's alive. And they have a new dog. They moved to Japan and everything. He said he's basically retired, and you can kind of tell. But he's actually making content that I think I like. I don't know. Like, it's definitely nice when it happens, but I don't think I would watch it if he uploaded a lot, you know? And also, like, there's always been a lot of controversy around PewDiePie. I don't know. I just liked his Minecraft videos, and I liked his Reddit videos and stuff. I liked the community sort of aspect. It was nice to kind of gather around like one man and support him in a fight against like another YouTube channel to stay on top or something. I saw him other videos but never actually watched him. I personally was more of a Tobuscus guy. Yeah, I never watched Tobuscus. I did support him when he went against T-Series. I feel like that was kind of like his peak, when like everybody was like trying to keep him at the top, you know? And like I think it was less about PewDiePie himself, but more just being against like a corporation kind of feeling. Like the odds were never really in PewDiePie's favor, you know? But it was just awesome to see a bunch of people gather together to get him to like 100 million subscribers. That's nuts. And now Mr. Beast came in. I don't know. I have kind of mixed feelings on Mr. Beast. Like, I hate the feeling of being kind of coerced into subscribing. I watched like one of his like gaming videos, and he's just like, subscribe and you could enter for a chance to win. And you know, it was kind of like a mindless subscription, you know? I'm kind of that type that sort of watches things with my brain turned on. I've watched Mr. Beast back when he did intro compilations. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I think his content is interesting because he has access to so much wealth that he can make really intriguing videos. But like when I sit down to watch them, it's kind of hard because it's so fast. There's no, like, the pacing is intense. Like, it's content that I can enjoy, but I would basically describe it as like the fast food of content, but like it's not even fast food, it's like the chips or something, like the snack food of content. Because his videos aren't that long. Like sometimes they are, but it just feels so corporate, you know? And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes it's just like, you know, he's doing a sponsor read, and like at least he comes up with cool ways to incorporate the sponsors into videos. But it just feels like weird, you know? And I also, personally, I feel like there's no way that his money like all comes from good places, you know? Stop giving me advertisements about almonds. Straight. I am straightened up. And there's a beat. Also, if you guys watch the VODs, and if you're curious, like I have things that you can redeem on my Twitch that's like make me straighten up or just put a little bean in the chat or something. And I noticed now that like, well, I've noticed before, but I figured I'd say, like, you can't see when someone redeems something, which is weird. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something about that in the future, I don't know. Maybe like somehow record the chat thing. Speaking of VODs, what happened to last night's VOD? The start seemed to be cut off. Really? Huh. Let me see. Yeah, where is the start of my VOD? Okay. Not sure. Perhaps it was just like an internet issue. Wacky. Yeah, I am not sure. I apologize for that. But, I was on something. But yeah, Mr. Beast, I don't know. It's like, it's so squeaky clean that I feel like there has to be something going on. Like, it feels just so unnatural, you know? It's like a... There's no really better way that I feel I can put it other than like a gut feeling, a vibe sort of deal. Like, do I hate Mr. Beast? No. It's kind of impossible to hate him is the thing. Like, to hate Mr. Beast's content would basically just be a hater, you know? Like, no, like, good reason behind it. His content is just so friendly, I guess. But it's not like his content is wholesome either, you know? I chalked it up to just the internet being full of bad people. Nah, like the thing is, I don't know, Mr. Beast is just so, I don't know. Like, you don't watch it and we're focused to people being bad that we aren't used to good ones. We're so used to people being bad that we aren't used to good ones. Like, no, I wouldn't say it's that. There's plenty of good YouTubers on the site, you know? Even ones that face controversy, I feel can redeem themselves. And sometimes people who are really good do something really bad and then they can't be redeemed, you know? A YouTuber I really liked growing up, was Simply Nailogical. I'm not a person who does her nails. These bad boys are Nikes and dirty and I chew on them, it's bad, you know? But I liked her personality. She kind of inspired me to be a better person, to, you know, I could be different in a way. She was like the first person who talked about, like, very openly about just not wanting kids or maybe not wanting to get married, and it a little bit inspired me because, like, you know, you kind of sometimes you grow up and you're just like, you assume things about life, you know, and people always like say to you like, oh, you'll change your mind or you'll grow out of it or something. But it was just nice to see like there's someone out there who's like, they didn't grow out of it, it's just who they are, you know? So it was like, it was just nice. It felt like, oh, I could make a choice, you know? She also introduced me to the idea of loving tea a lot. She definitely inspired me to drink more tea. And like, again, I don't paint my nails. Like, that's what she was known for a lot. She made like polish mountains, so she had like 100 layers of nail polish. Do you like milk tea? I don't like milk tea. I like fruity tea. I don't like milk that much. I don't know. But it was just nice to see someone like her. She kept her normal job. Have you tried mango milk tea? I haven't tried mango milk tea, but I've tried milk tea before. I just didn't like it. But I love mango tea. I go to this place called Kung Fu Tea. And they have like mango popping bubbles and stuff, like mango jellies and things. It's really good. But yeah, I really liked how she viewed the world. She was just very nice. She was very funny. She kind of has a relationship with her partner the way I do with Egg. She'd always be like, "Ban, bring me the tea," because her boyfriend would bring her like Starbucks tea like every episode. It would just be like a part of the bit, you know. And just very recently, she stopped uploading videos. She makes a podcast. She runs Hollow Taco, which is like this really, like, it is probably one of the best like makeup for sort of area of like products. Kind of like what milk does to coffee or hot cocoa. Oh, the milk adds a nice slight creaminess to it. I don't know, I just don't like the flavor of milk. I don't know. Like when I make hot cocoa, I use boiling water. Some people think I'm crazy for that. Let them be offended by that, I guess. But for me, I just don't like milk that much. I don't know. That's just who I am. It depends. Like you have to use like a hot cocoa that works with it, you know. It's very doable. But yeah, Supernalogical was very cool. Really liked her content, but she was like very wholesome, you know. But it was like she made like the perfect kind of content for a person like in their teens, you know. Like it was funny, a little bit edgy, but at the end of the day very wholesome and like a safe space, you know. She's very accepting. She even made me want to live in Canada. That was like around the time when I decided that I didn't want to stay in America anymore. Hopefully by the end of this year I'm out of the country and moved into my new home. But there's probably a stronger chance that it'll be more next year, I'm guessing. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot to figure out in terms of that. I use hot water too, and then I put coffee creamer in it. That's an interesting way of doing it. Yeah. I don't know, there's a lot to enjoy. Like on YouTube. But like as I grew up and got older, I started watching things like reality TV and like content that reacted to like those shows. I realized like as an adult how garbage it all is, but that's kind of why I like it. It gives me an opportunity to just sort of turn my brain off, because sometimes like, you know, as long as my opinion on things is if you know what's up like going into something and always remind yourself of that and you stop it before you like kind of get carried away with something, it's fine. You know, like when I watch things like 1,000-Pound Sisters and stuff, I go in knowing that like these people are being exploited. It's not good for them. None of those shows are good for any of the people on it. The relationship shows are mostly fake. I have to take breaks from them because it is tiring to watch over time. And it can be stressful because I get very attached to the characters. But I still enjoy it. I like the drama, I guess. I don't have a very dramatic life. So what games do you like again? I don't really have any game that I don't like. I like Animal Crossing, I like Stardew Valley, you know, farming sims, I'm all good with that. I love platformers a lot, like Mario Bros, like anything like that, I adore it. I enjoy first-person shooters a lot, actually. Like, I enjoy things like Splatoon, but even more stereotypically, like, I enjoy Rainbow Six Siege. I don't really like Call of Duty. So it kind of depends. Driving games, I like Mario Kart, you know? I like games where you like just drive around sometimes. A game that I don't really know what to call it. Let me see. What would they call it on Steam? What is this titled as? Open world superhero action. So like, I recently got Spider-Man the Miles Morales game. It's Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. I like it, but it's a little bit annoying because like all of the cool stuff is sort of taken away from you. Have you ever played Destiny? No, I haven't. I don't know. I guess I don't like games where there's like too many menus. The one MMO I do play, and I've played it on stream, is why am I forgetting the name of it? Guild Wars 2, yeah. I love Guild Wars 2. But like if I take too long of a break from it, I forget how everything works and then it's just annoying. Great game, but I can't recommend it at this moment right now. It's a little disorienting and overwhelming to get into with no prior knowledge, yeah. Like that's just a problem I see with a lot of games. It's like if you don't know the originals, you're gonna struggle to get into it. And some games just make me very tired and bored. So I don't know. But I'm excited to be trying League of Legends. It's tricky, but I think that's what I'm gonna play later. Especially since there's no free campaign to play in the game. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm a player of all types of games. There's no game that I wouldn't be willing to try. I love like games where you build stuff. Like I just got this game called Tracks. You build like a little train track. It's very cute. It's very easy to get lost in what to do with Destiny. Yeah. I also realized that like when there's quests to do like an open world game, I get annoyed because all I want to do is hang out and like roleplay and stuff. But very often games just don't go all the way that I want it to go. Once you beat the opening part, it's just like, alright, cool, have fun. Go mess around and do stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Like, my ideal game would probably be something along the lines of... I don't know. Kinda tricky. Like, a lot of character customization. No quick time events. I would want creativity and problem solving. Like, Rockstar has this problem for me where I want to play their games, but if you don't do things in the exact right order, then you can't do the thing, you know? I wanted, like, Breath of the Wild was basically pretty close to, like, what I would call a perfect game, you know? Engaging combat, if there's combat, you know? Well, I feel like there has to be combat sometimes, because you might get bored otherwise. But also I feel like it could be made better in terms of, like, if I could customize Link more. Like, instead of Link only being a man, I want so badly. I would enjoy the game literally 1,000 times more if I could play Zelda. Or Linkle. It doesn't matter to me. Like, that's the thing. Like, you might think, oh, that's such a silly thing. But representation in games matters a lot. Because then you can more closely relate to what's happening in there. Quests exist. There's a mod for that. I know. But, like, I don't have a modded Switch, and I don't know how to do that. It's like, a little bit much for me. You know? I want it to just exist in the base game. Like, it's... There doesn't have to be, like... Link doesn't talk in the game. It'd be pretty easy to just make all the characters say Link or Linkle, and then just kind of dub that and make it sort of fit over everything, you know? Can I show you a game trailer for a game I really enjoy? Sure, just send it and I can, like, mute the video or something. What's the game called? But, I don't know. Rain World. I'll look it up on YouTube. Rain World. Trailer. Oh yeah, this game. Yeah, there's a lot of games just like this. Like, in terms of art style. Oh, was it promoted on Adult Swim? That's cool. Awesome. Well, that's really cute. You're playing like a little ghost ferret kind of guy. And it's so well animated too. It's really easy to do stuff with that, you know, like the silhouette style. That's cool. Thanks for telling me about that. Well, they actually used to be owned by Adult Swim Games, but they were recently able to break off from Adult Swim. That's what allowed them to make the DLC. Yeah, that's really cool. Like, those types of games always make me think of this one War of the Worlds game. I'd have to, like, re-look it up. But it's kind of like the same vibe. Always, like, shadowy, you're running through, like, different, like, obstacles and stuff. Backgrounds are interesting. But yeah. It's a survival game too, actually, not your average platformer. Yeah. I just like the art style a lot. It also has a giant explorable world. Ooh. I didn't see that in the trailer I looked at. Let me take a gander. Ah. It's kind of scary though. Like with the setting and everything. But it looks very cool. Yeah, I guess like if I were to say like my content was based around like one type of gaming like company, it'd probably be like Nintendo. It's in a post-apocalyptic world, yeah. Reminds me of Super Meat Boy just a little bit. Just a bit. And rain falls hard enough to literally disintegrate you. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I think indie games are really nice. Yeah. But anyway, I think that'll be about it for today's stream. I've been going for about 2 hours now. Hopefully everything uploads okay on YouTube this time. We'll see what happens with that. But I hope you all enjoyed like this little AMA. Feel free to put like in the comments down below like things that you'd like to see me stream. And on my Discord, be on the lookout for an update where you can send videos, and maybe next Friday I'll just sort of watch them. Maybe I'd even watch them tomorrow, but tomorrow is supposed to be a trendy game day or something, so we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, it's a little bit up in the air, but I'm glad I could do a little just chatting stream with you guys, since I don't typically do those. Yeah, now seems like a good stopping point. Yeah. But anyway, I love you guys very much. Have a... I heard someone, one of my roommates was talking in the hall. But anyway, I love you guys very much. Check out my social media, check out my YouTube channels, and yeah, I'll be back in the stream tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern time. I'll see you all later. Tschüssi!